In 2018, humanity had a safety margin of 121 days. If every satellite operator on Earth suddenly lost the ability to steer their spacecraft, it would take 4 months before the first catastrophic collision. 4 months to fix the problem. 4 months before the chain reaction began. Today, that number is 2.8 days. And if you think that sounds like enough time, consider this. A severe solar storm gives us maybe 48 hours of warning, sometimes less, which means one bad day from the sun could trigger something we can't undo. Scientists call it the crash clock, and it's ticking faster than anyone expected. The researchers who created this metric weren't trying to be dramatic. Sarah Thiel and her colleagues at Princeton and the University of British Columbia simply wanted to quantify something everyone in the space industry whispers about, but rarely discusses publicly. How fragile is our orbital infrastructure? How close are we to disaster? The answer shocked even them. Right now, approximately 15,000 active satellites orbit Earth. 2/3 of them belong to a single company, SpaceX's Starlink. These satellites don't just float peacefully through space. They're constantly dodging each other. Every 11 minutes, somewhere in the Starlink constellation, 2 satellites pass within 1 kilometer of each other. Across all of low Earth orbit, these close approaches happen every 22 seconds. To avoid collisions, Starlink satellites perform an average of 41 maneuvers per year. Each, multiply that across thousands of spacecraft and you get a staggering number. In 2025 alone, SpaceX executed over 300,000 collision avoidance maneuvers. That's one every 2 minutes, around the clock, every single day. This isn't a system running smoothly. This is a system running on the edge. The crash clock measures what happens when that edge breaks. If satellite operators lost communication with their spacecraft, if a solar storm fried their control systems, or a cyber attack took down their ground stations, how long before 2 objects collide? The researchers ran the simulations. In 2018, before the mega constellation era, the answer was 121 days. By June 2025, it had collapsed to 2.8 days. But here's the number that should keep you awake at night. Within just 24 hours of losing control, there's a 30% chance of a major collision, 1 in 3, in a single day, and that first collision wouldn't be the end, it would be the beginning. When 2 satellites collide at orbital velocities, they don't just break apart, they shatter into thousands of fragments, each one becoming a new projectile traveling at 17,000 miles per hour. Those fragments spread out along the orbital path, creating a debris field. Other satellites pass through that field. Some get hit, they shatter too. More debris, more collisions, the cascade accelerates. Scientists call this Kessler syndrome, named after NASA researcher Donald Kessler, who first described it in 1978. In his scenario, low Earth orbit eventually becomes so cluttered with debris that launching anything becomes impossible. The region of space that holds our GPS, our weather satellites, our communications networks would become a shooting gallery, and it would stay that way for decades, possibly centuries. The crash clock doesn't measure Kessler syndrome directly. That process unfolds over years. What it measures is how quickly the first domino falls. And right now, that domino is balanced on a razor's edge. Solar storms make this worse. When a coronal mass ejection hits Earth, it heats the upper atmosphere, causing it to expand. That expansion increases drag on satellites, changing their orbits in unpredictable ways. Suddenly, the carefully calculated trajectories don't match reality. Avoidance maneuvers that would have worked become uncertain. And if the storm is strong enough to disrupt communications between ground stations and spacecraft, operators can't send new commands at all. In May 2024, during the strongest geomagnetic storm in 2 decades, satellite operators scrambled to adjust orbits across multiple constellations. The system held, but it revealed how little margin exists. So what can be done? Some researchers advocate for mandatory deorbiting requirements, forcing companies to bring satellites down faster at end of life. Others push for better tracking systems that can monitor smaller debris. A few suggest we need active debris removal, spacecraft designed to grab defunct satellites and drag them out of orbit. The European Space Agency plans to demonstrate this technology in 2026, but none of these solutions address the fundamental problem. We've filled low Earth orbit with tens of thousands of objects, and we're adding more every week. SpaceX has approval for 12,000 Starlink satellites. They've applied for 42,000. Amazon's Project Kuiper plans thousands more. China is building its own mega constellations. The crash clock will keep shrinking. In 1978, Donald Kessler warned us this could happen. We had decades to prepare. Instead, we accelerated. Now we measure our safety margin in days, not months. And somewhere above our heads, 15,000 satellites are dancing around each other every 11 minutes, hoping the music never stops.
What happens when it does?